Hello and welcome to the Child Welfare Capacity Building Center for States Family Empowerment Leadership Academy Training of Trainers conference call. Please note today's call is being recorded. Before we begin, I would like to turn the conference over to Ms. Meredith Pochelli. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and welcome to today's webinar. Just a few notes before we get started. All attendees will be muted for the duration of the webinar. However, we do encourage you to type any questions or comments into the chat pod on your screen. If you experience any technical difficulties during the presentation, please contact Chris King at the email address listed on the screen. So with that, I would like to turn it over to Jennifer Marcelli of the Capacity Building Center for States.
Thank you, Meredith, and good morning or good afternoon to everybody, depending where you are on the map. It's really great to see folks from all over the country on this call today. So thank you for taking the time and welcome. My name is Jennifer Marcelli. I'm a program area manager for the Center for States. Today you'll also hear from Brenda Lockwood, who is a senior program associate for the Butler Institute for Families, as well as Angela Braxton, who is a family empowerment program area advisor for the Center for States, as well as Sherry Tomlinson, who's one of the family empowerment consultants for the Center for States as well. On the next slide, you'll see our agenda for the day. You just heard the introductions, and I'm going through the agenda now. And then you'll hear about the background and purpose of the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy. We'll go through the Kapler navigation, review the curriculum, have an evaluation overview, and then we'll take some questions and do some question and answer. But before we get there, I just wanted to quickly provide some background information on the Child Welfare Capacity Building Collaborative and the Center for States. In October of 2014, ICF was awarded a contract by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families, the Children's Bureau, to establish the new Child Welfare Capacity Building Collaborative. And on the next slide, you'll see that the Center for States, the Center for Tribes, and the Center for Courts are partners who build the Capacity Building Collaborative. And the collaborative consolidates services that had previously been provided by the National Child Welfare Resource Centers. And the consolidation really increases coordination, leverages resources, and offers a more strategic service provision. The goals of the collaborative are to work with partners and jurisdictions to support capacity building to lead to improved outcomes for children and families. And you'll see these goals on the next slide. And we do this by partnering with states, territories, tribes, and courts to identify, design, and implement innovative solutions that meet the unique needs of each jurisdiction. And quickly, our definition of capacity building is really about an ongoing evidence-informed process that is intended to develop a system's potential to be productive and effective. And the center builds capacity by partnering with public child welfare agencies to enhance and mobilize the human and organizational assets necessary to meet federal standards and requirements. And we use the information that we have gathered from research, expert consultations, and jurisdictions to strengthen systems and enhance the abilities of individuals in those systems to better achieve their goals. And through our evidence-based process, we really strive to create proactive and effective partnerships with agencies. And on the following slide, you'll see that the dimensions of capacity, and we feel to assess agency needs and develop individual solutions, we use these 5 categories or dimensions of capacity to guide its approach. And the dimensions are resources, infrastructure, knowledge and skills, culture and climate, and engagement and partnership. And so moving on to the Center for States, we particularly serve state and territorial public child welfare agencies and Title 40 waiver demonstration jurisdictions.
A map of the United States shows 9 regional service areas for the Administration for Children and Families Children's Bureau.
And again, as I stated earlier, we're under ICF International, and you might recognize that ICF from work with the Child Welfare Information Gateway. ICF has a long history of working on technical assistance contracts with the Children's Bureau and other government agencies. And particularly with the Center for States, we aim to provide those evidence-based capacity building support services to improve performance and support states and territories in effectively initiating, implementing, and sustaining change and innovation. And to achieve this goal, we work with our partners to create and deliver coordinated, inclusive, and well-informed capacity building services. And the Center for States is designed to support the Children's Bureau vision of providing strategic evidence-informed services to build the capacity of state and territorial public child welfare agencies. And on the following slide, you'll see our categories of services. We have 3 categories: universal services, constituency services, and tailored services. And each of these areas aim to fulfill the needs of child welfare professionals and organizations, as well as support them in achieving their goals. And the universal services promote engagement among a broad nationwide audience of state agency professionals. And we do this by developing and providing resources, tools, and products. Our constituency services include learning experiences like the one you'll hear about today, and peer networking opportunities that are really aimed at a targeted group of individuals or professional cohorts. And our tailored services provide direct capacity building support to state agencies and territories, focusing on capacity building and implementation efforts. So that is my brief introduction to the Capacity Building Collaborative and the Center for States and the services we provide. And I'm now going to turn it over to Angela Braxton, who is going to get us started talking about the FELA, what you all are here for today. So thank you very much, and Angela, off to you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Hello, everybody, and welcome to FELA. I'm really excited that you're here today. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the background, who's involved in developing the FELA, and how the FELA was designed. And specifically, it was designed to be delivered by family members and agency staff. The agency has the ability to customize areas to meet the needs of their participants. And the FELA, the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy, was created by the Capacity Building Center for States team of family consultants and the center staff through partnership and support from the Children's Bureau. We created FELA in an effort to engage with states through a true partnership and leadership model to promote engagement and involvement of families. Over the years, our attempts at engagement and involvement have truly taken hold in some areas, but it's not enough. The Center for States and the Children's Bureau truly challenged us as a family consultant team to be bold in our efforts to create not just an academy for family engagement, but to take it a step further. We wanted something in which we could begin to build an infrastructure for family within the state system, being meaningfully engaged and involved at all levels of child welfare, something that would build sustainability from the start. So after years of partnering with our states around family engagement and involvement, we often found ourselves at a dead end, either on account of a change in leadership, worker turnover, or maybe a grant ended, or just plain feeble attempts at meaningful engagement with families. So we accepted the challenge to be bold and take family engagement and involvement to the next level through the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy. We believe that when families are effectively engaged at the very beginning of their case and meaningfully involved throughout the process, that families will step into their own level of empowerment, taking the lead in the best outcomes for their families, providing trainings and peer-to-peer support for other families and for staff. The outcomes for family empowerment are endless, and you can play a crucial role in this happening in your state child welfare system. I personally would have never become a family empowerment consultant or advisor had I not been effectively engaged and involved. The Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy will assist in preparing family leaders and agencies to work in equal partnership through shared leadership, terminology, and experience to create systemic change in child welfare best practices. Family leaders are adults in parenting roles, including birth, adoptive, foster, and kinship parents who have experience in the child welfare system and who wish to use that experience to improve outcomes for children and families. Next slide, please. So the goals of today's webinar are that you as participants become aware of and how to access all FELA products, and to review the key learning points of the FELA in-person curriculum, and then prepare you, the participants, trainers, to deliver in-person curriculum, the in-person curriculum. Next slide. So I'm going to give you a little overview of the components of the FELA, and throughout the presentation, we'll explain to you how they all fit together. This is a 15-hour curriculum, and it's designed to be delivered over 2 consecutive days. It focuses on family empowerment to build skills and knowledge application at the agency and system level, and will be co-delivered by state agency trainers and state or local family leaders. The curriculum is a complement to the Center's FELA e-learning modules, which Sherry will introduce in just a moment. In addition to the e-learning modules and the FELA curriculum, the Center created an implementation manual, which we will also discuss a little bit later. As a trainer, you are the one who truly makes the material in any training curriculum come alive. This training is no exception. Trainers are strongly encouraged to infuse personal stories and experiences throughout the curriculum where it will help illustrate a point and or deepen learning. In particular, family leaders who co-facilitate this training are encouraged to share examples of ways in which families experience the child welfare system and how the agency culture and climate influences and impacts family engagement and involvement. In addition, agency staff who co-facilitate this training are encouraged to share examples from their experiences of ways in which involving families at the case planning level, system, and peer-to-peer support level has been a challenge and a success. There is also an evaluation component, which Hung Fo will discuss later in this webinar. I'd like to pass this off now to Brenda, and she's going to talk about how to access the FELA.
Thank you, Angela. Hello, everybody. We're very excited to have you here today. We're super excited to be launching this curriculum. It's months and months of work and lots of hands and brains in the creation of these materials. So let's talk about where you can find them. If you're not familiar with the Capacity Building Center for States or the Capacity Building Collaborative's website, I really encourage you to go check it out. And you can find that at capacity.childwelfare.gov/states/. And Meredith is going to navigate us to the page, and so we can kind of walk through what you'll see when you log into the website to download the materials. Our website is designed, especially our learning management system, which is called CapLearn, is designed to really support virtual learning experiences. Pretty easy to find, it's user-friendly, and allows for the management and tracking of completion and satisfaction with the different learning materials or activities that you might access. It looks like it's taken a minute for it to download. So again, the website is capacity.childwelfare.gov/states/. Thank you. So this would be the page, and we'll talk about in a minute how you actually sign up for a login, sign up for access. But this is the login page that you'll see when you go to CapLearn, which is, again, our learning management system, and you'll log in. Go ahead and log in, and that will navigate you, or that will bring you to our course catalog. And on this screen, you'll see that we have a variety of different learning experiences available, including the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy. So we'll have you click on that. And here's where you will be brought to our landing page for FELA, and where you can access all of the materials. And so the materials include a curriculum guide, PowerPoint, handouts, and videos and the evaluation component. So Meredith, if you would, I'd like to just show our participants what the curriculum guide looks like. So if you could click on that, it'll show you exactly what you'll be downloading, and you can scroll through and see that the curriculum guide really is pretty comprehensive. It provides you with all of the talking points you need, information about delivery. It's designed to be delivered, as Angela mentioned. It's designed to be delivered by 2 people, preferably someone from your agency as well as a family leader. and it provides all the agenda and all of that good stuff. So it has this curriculum guide, and handouts and PowerPoint are also available. And you can download everything individually. So you could download this component, the curriculum guide, on its own, or you could download the whole package as one. So if you go back to, you could close out of this, Meredith, and go back to the landing page. Why don't you just quickly click on the PowerPoint just to show that real quick, and so people get a sense of what it is. I do want to mention, and we'll mention this again, that all of the materials are intended to be customizable. So you can download them all as documents and go in and add content that is to make the material more relevant or pertinent to your jurisdiction. So everything is here. So that just gives you a sense of what the PowerPoint looks like. And you can go ahead and close out of this, Meredith. And I just want to show, so again, each of the components, there's the curriculum guide, the handout, the PowerPoint presentation, and a little later on, Angela will talk about the implementation manual, which is also a component of the Family Empowerment Leadership Academy, which really provides jurisdictions with some implementation guidance on, how do you implement a family empowerment program and strategies within your agency. And then later on, Hung Fo will talk about the evaluation components that are also available to you. So, like I said, you can download each of these individually, or you can click on that long blue bar that says download all and download everything all at once. It may take a few minutes because there's a lot of content there. And then the second row of the tabs there are the videos. So with the curriculum, we infused a couple of different videos to really enhance the curriculum. So you'll want to download each of those individually. So you'll need to download those as well.
Videos include 1. Kinship Family Video, 2. Kinship Family Audio Description Video, and 3. Digital Stories.
I think that's it on this. And I want to go back to the PowerPoint if we could, Meredith. Thank you. Love this technology. Okay. So the next slide will just show you just quickly what the registration page will look like. So if you haven't ever been to the Center for State's website, this is what you'll find when you go on to register for login information. So you'll need to do this step first. It's pretty simple. Your name and email address, and then it'll create a password and login information for you, so you can enter into the site and download the materials. And again, all the materials are intended to be customizable, so to make it easy for you all to just go in and utilize the material. So hopefully that orientation was helpful for you to just see what's available to you and really how easy it is to use. So I'm going to hand it over to Sherry Tomlinson, who is going to sort of kick us off and talking a little bit more about the different modules that are available. I'll turn it over to Sherry.
Thank you. I'm excited that we have so many participants today, and the first thing I want to talk with you about is the FELA e-learning courses, and these are designed to assist states in building their system capacity and empowering families to achieve sustainable change. We have the FELA curriculum introduction model, and it was created to provide state and family leader trainers the knowledge and skills that are necessary to deliver this FELA curriculum and in an in-person or classroom environment. This module will provide an overview of the curriculum similar to what we're going to do in today's session, and it is intended to help prepare individuals to actually train the curriculum. Additionally, there are 3 e-learning courses that are available to provide foundational learning related to the family empowerment and leadership. These build on one another to accomplish the objectives of the FELA. By taking all 3 of these FELA e-learning modules, You will be provided with a basic knowledge foundation, and the other modules then include module number 1, which is impacting sustainable change. The purpose of this module is to explain how family leaders and agency leaders can empower sustainable change in the child welfare system through collaboration with families. Module number 2 is the peer-to-peer support module, and its purpose is to explain the role of parents who have had prior experience or involvement with child welfare systems and how, as parent partners, they can provide effective peer-to-peer support to families. The third module is meaningful partnerships, and the purpose of this module is to discuss the roles of agency leaders, caseworkers, family leaders, and community partners as they collaborate to develop meaningful partnerships. Course participants learn how child welfare agencies can build organizational capacity with the support of agency leaders to improve their working relationships with families as well as the services that they offer. All 3 of these FELA e-learning modules provide a basic knowledge foundation to the topics that are presented in the FELA curriculum, which we will be reviewing today. The FELA curriculum expands on the topics that are presented in the e-learning modules by discussing strategies and presenting activities that explore solutions for empowering families and achieving sustainable change. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Brenda.
Great. Thank you, Sherry. So as Sherry was just describing, the e-learning modules really are intended to be a foundation for the in-person curriculum, which is what we're going to talk about next. We tried to think of everything, and so that's why we also included the e-learning to prepare your trainers to present the content in the in-person curriculum. So I wanted to point out to you that there is a pod on your screen that says Files, and there is a file there that says FELA at a glance. And you can certainly download that, click on it and download it now, or click on it and download it to look at later. But it's really intended to provide you with just a quick overview or quick glance at what's contained in each of the units within the FELA curriculum. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go through each of the curriculum units. We're going to talk about the key learning points within each of the units and then provide kind of a broad description of the activities covered in each unit. So again, you can use the handout that's on the pod on your screen to follow along, or you can just download it and have it available for yourself to refer to as you're preparing to deliver the curriculum. We'll go on to the next slide. So day 1, Angela mentioned that it's a 15-hour curriculum. Day 1 is 7.5 hours, and it consists of 7 individual units. And I want to be sure to emphasize that, again, that it's really important that the curriculum be delivered by a team of 2 trainers, 1 agency staff member and a family leader as co-trainers. We really do believe it's important to model the essence of family empowerment and leadership, much like we're doing today with the 3 of us, myself and Sherry and Angela presenting. And we also strongly encourage trainers to infuse their own experience and stories into the curriculum. Really, as trainers, you're the ones that make the training come alive. And so, you know, we couldn't, it's hard for us to just put in a bunch of stories that are, you know, relevant to our own experience. It's really important for your trainers to be able to infuse their own stories. And again, you'll see on the FELA at a glance document, there's a column for customization. And again, we do encourage you to customize the sections, even if there's some of the sections on the FELA at a glance document don't have any notes about customization, but that doesn't mean you can't customize those sections so that it makes it pertinent to your agency as needed. So let's move on to the next slide. So the first unit, of course, is the Welcome and Introductions unit. And this unit, of course, introduces participants to the training. We review the overall goals of the training and really try to create a training mindset by having participants reflect on their unique learning style and how learning styles influence engagement and training. This unit is 30 minutes long, and content includes an explanation of training goals, learning styles information, introductions of all the participants, and a description of FELA, which is going to be important for your participants. There's a couple of activities. There's just general presentation. There is a learning styles assessment, which is a self-reflection for individuals on how they prefer to learn, and then some group discussion, large group discussion about the learning styles assessment and what it means for individuals as they engage in training and in a learning environment. I think it's a great activity to include because when we're talking about family empowerment and leadership, everybody does bring to the table different styles of learning and engagement. So it's a nice way to kick off this unit. Angela?
Yes. I'm going to go ahead and start with Unit 2, Assessing Agency Culture and Climate. And the goal of this unit is to understand the systemic issues of agency culture and climate and family engagement and empowerment strategies. And you might question, or your participants might question, why is agency culture and climate important to family engagement and empowerment? Well, we all know that the culture is a system of shared assumptions, values, and beliefs, and the climate is a system of shared perception. So the agency culture and climate truly sets what we call the mood of the agency. It also it becomes ingrained into the organization, and what it does is whoever is involved in the training or involved in work of that agency, they feel that. That's something that you immediately feel when you come to partner, when family partners are being engaged. The agency culture and climate stands out firsthand, and that can truly affect the way that partnership happens from the very beginning clear through the end, and it can determine whether or not it actually happens. So I think I want us to really be mindful this is one of the most important units in this curriculum, is assessing that agency culture and climate. The time for this unit is 40 minutes, and the main content, the key learning points, are recognizing what influences the culture and climate of an agency, and then raise awareness of how agency culture and climate develop. Raise awareness around the potential barriers resulting from that culture and climate, and identify family leaders as brokers and change agents who can positively impact agency culture and climate. The activities for this unit are a presentation and group discussion. There's an activity called Mothers Are, Fathers Are. It's an activity to truly challenge perception. And there's a group activity to brainstorm ways in which the assigned strategy can be used to influence agency culture and climate. On to the next one. Carrie?
Thank you, Angela. Unit 3 is shared leadership and meaningful partnership. And the goal of this unit is to develop the ability to form partnerships with family leaders to implement change. It is a 35-minute unit. The key learning point is to describe the best practices in developing partnerships between family leaders and child welfare agencies. The activities that are involved in it, there's a presentation and a group discussion. There is a small group activity, collaboration at all levels, and then there is a video called Moline, and the video illustrates the power of shared leadership in child welfare. Unit 3 builds on the previous unit by challenging participants to examine the influence that culture and climate have
on the willingness of all parties to develop shared leadership and meaningful partnerships. This unit also explores the differences between power, control, and influence. These factors can have a substantial effect on the ability to partner with one another. Dealing effectively with real or perceived power differentials can make or break partnerships at the agency, practice, and systems level. And I'm going to, next slide, please. We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a brief pause and invite participants to ask any questions that they may have so far about the content of the curriculum. So if you have a question, you can type that into the chat box.
Brenda.
Looks like folks are typing, so we'll just wait a minute until their questions pop up. There's a question, is this geared more toward protective services, or can it be used for prevention services as well? Angela?
My hope is that it's used for both. I think that we could definitely use it for protection and or for prevention services. My hope would be that of prevention. If we're truly engaging parents as they come under the radar or at risk of losing their children, I definitely believe that it could work in prevention services. If we can help parents to recognize and identify and build upon their strengths that they do have, because I know sometimes it seems hopeful, but we all have strengths. But if we can help them identify and build upon those, I believe that, yes, this would work very well in working for prevention or child protection services.
Yeah, and this is Brenda, and I would just add, the idea here is that we're really encouraging agencies and organizations to consider how can you infuse family empowerment throughout all of the entire child welfare process, or even just with that throughout your agency in general. So I think once you take a look at the material, you will be able to gauge a sense of, get that sense that we're really encouraging you to look at your system as a whole, and then at the same time start where you can. So as Angela said, I do think it's appropriate for protective services and prevention services as well. And then there's another question, is there a list of states that have this model already in practice? Good question. I don't know that we have a list, readily available, but I'm aware of a couple of states, and it sounds like maybe someone is typing in. I know Minnesota has a model for parent partnering, and boy, I guess I'm a little bit at a loss. I'm not really sure where to direct you to find that information. Maybe Angela.
I think, Brenda, that they're asking, and correct me if I'm wrong, that do they have this model already in practice?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yes, and that answer would be not that we are aware of. We would hope so, but we don't. No, we don't believe so. This is actually our official launch, but we would be open to you
I love it.
Putting it into practice. we would feel honored if you would do that.
That's awesome. And to Sarah, no, it's not currently in Spanish, and I'm not sure if there are plans to translate it into Spanish. Certainly something that we can take back and to the Center for States and let them know.
And that
helpful.
I think translating the material into Spanish, I don't believe. I know that we don't have that, but I don't see why, because it's a curriculum for the states, that the states themselves could not translate it into Spanish.
Yes. Okay, I think we're going to, just for time's sake, I think we need to move on to the next slide. I see there's another question about the Better Together philosophy, and I'm not real familiar with the Better Together philosophy.
I want to, real quick, Brenda, if I may, just be real clear about that. This is not Better Together.
Okay.
It is not. we've had that question before, and I just want to be real clear that it is not. This was truly created by the Center for State and the family consultants of the center with the support of the Children's Bureau. It is not in any way better together.
Thanks, Angela. Okay, let's move on to look at Unit 4. So Unit 4 is the effective collaboration and creating safe work environments. And this unit is 50 minutes long, and in this unit, the goal is to describe best practices in developing partnerships between family leaders and child welfare agencies. You know, the real key learning point here is the importance of collaboration as a way of creating safe and trusting environments in which we can build relationships with family leaders. I do think that it's you know, obviously very important that our family leaders feel welcome within our house, as it were. There are 3 different activities. Presentation, of course, enlarged group discussion. There's a small group activity around building blocks of effective communication. And then there's also a sort of self-assessment called Built on Trust Self-Assessment Scale, in which participants will do individually, and then there's some small group discussion around that activity. So Unit 4 continues to build on Units 2 and 3 by exploring how leadership and meaningful partnerships are key to empowering families and the importance of collaboration in building partnerships. The unit explores the definition of collaboration in the context of family empowerment and family involvement, and explores how agency culture and climate contribute to a collaborative and trusting environment. Participants are encouraged to reflect on the level of trust in their agency and areas of strength as well as areas of need related to this idea of collaboration and safe environments. Next unit is Unit 5. Angela?
Okay. So as Brenda has stated previously, that each unit builds on the next unit. So in order to gain the shared leadership and meaningful partnerships and effective collaboration and to create safe work environments, effective communication and conflict resolution is key. You can see there on the slide what the key learning points are for this unit. And the main goal of this unit is to develop the ability to form partnerships with family leaders to implement change. The time for this unit is 60 minutes, and the key content is that participants analyze barriers to partnerships and strategies and work towards overcoming them. Participants will learn how effective communication is key, that the challenges of change do not impede the development of strong working relationships. Effective communication, as we know, is a two-way street. It's not how you convey a message so that it is received and understood by someone exactly the way you intended. It's also how you listen to gain the full meaning of what's being said and to make the other person feel heard and understood. That's really important as we think about partnering with families. And partnering with families truly depends on effective communication between all individuals involved. And that's all a part of our sometimes our lack of perception in some ways. Not necessarily a lack of perception, but the way that we perceive things and the way that you may perceive things. There's truly a language. There's always been a language barrier through communication with family leaders, family partners, and agency staff. And I think if you can come to a level ground there on truly trying to understand each other, having open, honest communication with each other, asking some of those hard questions, or just truly asking, what did you specifically mean by that? I think that breaks down some of those barriers. So it's very important that we participants explore their dominant communication style, as well as how they manage the conflict. And there's tips for managing conflict and developing conflict resolution skills. You can flip chart those. We have the activities are the presentation, the group discussion. There's a self-reflection. That's where you'll rate your dominant communication style, and then there's the self-reflection. It's a conflict management style assessment in your activities, and you should find that in your handout. But the communication, conflict resolution is another of the most important units to engaging with families. I think it's Sherry.
Thank you, Angela. Unit 6 is sharing your personal experience, and the key, the intention of this unit is to develop an understanding of how family leaders can use the power of their firsthand experiences to impact positive change and improve outcomes. It is a 75-minute unit. The content and key learning points are to explain the essence of strategic sharing and to describe how to impact the public conversation about child welfare by developing skills to move from strategic sharing to strategic framing. There are activities involved with this. One would be the presentation and the group discussion. Then there is also a small group activity, which is entitled Inviting Others to Share. There is an example of a digital story, which is an example of strategic sharing. And there are also a couple of handouts. The first one is called the three C's. And those stand for choosing, connecting, and claiming. And it's a real good way to open up a discussion about learning how to share your own personal experiences and how to do that in a way that will be effective. There's also a handout on strategic framing. Unit 6, basically it allows us to put a human face on issues, needs, and problems. The unit explores the basics of strategic sharing, and it examines the influence of strategic framing. How our sharing is framed can determine the way in which our issues are perceived by society. Strategic framing can move the public towards constructive thinking or rethinking of policy issues. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take one more pause here to invite any participants that may have questions about the information that we've covered so far in the unit. And we'll take just a minute or two.
Brenda.
Okay, it doesn't look like anyone has any questions. You can go ahead and type your questions in the chat feature anytime. And we just thought we'd take some pauses periodically we're kind of throwing a lot of information at you. So we just take a pause and in case people had questions that came up about the things that we were just talking about. So thank you, Sherry. The Unit 7 is peer-to-peer support, and the intention of this unit is to help participants develop an understanding of how family leaders can partner with the system to improve outcomes for children and families. It's an hour long, so 60 minutes. And the key learning points for this unit are to explain the essence of peer-to-peer support and the process of peer-to-peer support, and describe ways in which parent partners can play a leadership role in child welfare. A couple of activities. There's a large group brainstorming activity around needs addressed by peer-to-peer support, and an activity titled Unlocking the Essence of Peer-to-Peer Support. So really this unit focuses on how parent leaders can support each other in the parent leader program and process. The Unit 7 discusses how, as I said, parent partners can act as mentors to support each other and provide resources to families currently involved in the child welfare system. This unit discusses the types of support family leaders will need and how parent partners can provide support to one another. Angela.
Okay, so now we've briefly taken you through day one. So
The Day 1 wrap-up unit is 15 minutes.
at the end of day one, my hope is that we'll all understand the systemic issues of agency, culture, and climate, and family engagement and empowerment strategies. You will have developed the ability to form partnerships with family leaders to implement change, and develop the ability to identify strategies for family engagement and empowerment. And then you'll understand how family leaders can use the power of their first-hand experiences to impact positive change and improve outcomes for children and families. You'll also understand how family leaders can partner with the system to improve outcomes for those children and families as well. Then, after the wrap-up, we'll continue on to day two, and Sherry will transition you to day two.
Thank you, Angela. Day one focused mostly on the skills that are necessary for forming true partnerships with family leaders. Day two is going to focus mainly on system readiness for truly involving family leaders in the child welfare system.
Day 2 is 7.5 hours.
We're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide and to Brenda.
Thank you. So Unit 8 is, of course, welcoming everybody back to Day 2. We allotted about 15 minutes for this unit. Just welcome everybody back, review the goals for the day, and answer, of course, any questions that were left over from the previous day. Hopefully you've sparked enough curiosity in folks that they come back with lots of questions. So yeah, that's the goal of Unit 8, is just to welcome back. Angela?
So Unit 9 focuses on using data to your advantage.
Unit 9 is 45 minutes.
And I know in the past I've heard a lot of, well, we've been doing family engagement, but we really don't have any data around that. And I think in our feedback run of the FELA, it was even the question was asked, why did we need the data unit? I think it's very important that we have this unit. When you're putting together programs, you really want to be able to speak to what evidence you do have that this is working. So the goal of this unit is to demonstrate how data can be used to inform family engagement and empowerment strategies. Having a basic understanding of continuous quality improvement, including the cycles and deliberate use of data. There's an example of using data with a fatherhood program. You'll have a discussion on importance of CQI and engagement with stakeholders, including families. The activities will be a personal reflection on using evidence to inform a problem. And there's an activity and discussion on the interpretation of data on DAS. And then there's a group activity to brainstorm ways the strategy assigned can be used to influence agency, culture, and climate. Next slide. Sherry?
I'm sorry. I'm here. Thank you. Unit is readiness for change. And the goal of this unit is to develop the ability to form partnerships with family leaders to implement change. This is a 60-minute unit. The content and key learning points are to understand readiness for change, to raise awareness of the process of change implementation, to raise awareness of systems and systems change, and to analyze barriers to partnerships to develop strategies, and to develop strategies for overcoming them. It will also help to identify opportunities to include family leaders as partners. There's 2 activities involved with this unit. The first is a presentation and group discussion, and the next is a group activity called Walkabout, which is about attitudes towards change. Unit 10 explores the dynamics involved in change. while emphasizing the importance of engaging the individuals who will be impacted by the change. Attitudes are explored in detail, as well as the potential for these attitudes to affect partnerships between families and agencies. Unit 10 also describes the 5 steps to building capacity to ensure successful implementation of a change initiative. We're going to take another brief pause. If anyone has any questions of the information that we've covered up until this point, if you would write it into the chat box, and we will see if we can answer your question. We're going to take just a minute or two.
This is Brenda. There was a question about additional information for the PowerPoint, and while we're waiting for additional questions, I just thought I would point out that the curriculum guide, which you'll find on CapLearn, provides all the talking points that go with each of the PowerPoint slides. And then it also makes reference to all of the handouts as well. So curriculum guide is where the curriculum guide will really walk you through all of the PowerPoint slides and when to use the handouts and when to show the movies and all of that. So I'd love to hear what kind of data you'll have for fatherhood in Unit 9. Oh, well, you'll see it when you look in the curriculum. We use data from the CFSR reports, or the whatever, not the reports, but we use CFSR data for that particular unit. And you'll see a note in the curriculum that here's a good opportunity for customization, where you could swap out the data that we provide and provide data about dads from your own agency, or about fatherhood from your agency, or other data that might be particularly pertinent to your agency at the time that you're providing the training. Does the center assist with implementation? Good question. With the I'm assuming you mean implementation of family empowerment strategies, or are you referring to implementation of this curriculum? I think I could safely say yes to both, but I would also defer a little bit back to Jennifer to share a little bit maybe about how the center can assist with implementation. We do have consultants who are available to help provide consultation on both. But I don't know, Jennifer, if you have anything to add about assistance.
Sure, I would say that specific state level assistance in terms of implementation of the Family Empowerment and Leadership Academy, or this is a strategy in general, would go through tailored services. So I would really talk to your state folks who have those connections with our tailored services folks, and see if this is something that you could request assistance with. And as Brenda said, we have a lot of fantastic family consultants who help build this curriculum, who could come in and assist that, but it would come through a tailored service request.
Yeah, and you can find that information. On the center website, there is a page about our the regional liaisons who would be able to help with coordination of that. Okay, any other questions, or we can move on? All right, so Unit 11, we're almost there. 2 more units left. So Unit 11 is about the roles and responsibilities for family leaders, and in this unit we really try to develop an understanding of how family leaders can be useful in improving outcomes for children and families, and explore the responsibilities of family leaders and reinforce the concept of shared leadership and power. This unit is 45 minutes long, and the key learning points are to really explain the strategies for increased knowledge and skill application among agency and family leaders around family engagement and empowerment strategies, and to identify opportunities to include family leaders as family partners. And really, it is a broad look at how can you include family leaders and partners throughout your agency. So not just in protective services per se, but really in the whole spectrum of child welfare services. There are a couple of activities, small group and a large group discussion, as well as a small group activity around identifying roles for family leaders. And really this unit focuses on how family leader relationships are fostered on a meaningful level when parents are given the opportunity to achieve personal growth, obtain the knowledge and skills to function in leadership roles, and represent parent voices in shaping the direction of their families, programs, and communities. So with this unit, we'll help further define family leadership and explore the continuum of roles and opportunities for parents to exercise their leadership capabilities. And it also expands the discussion to explore responsibilities for family leaders. Angela.
Hi. Unit 12 is the art of negotiation, and the goal of this unit is to increase understanding of the concepts of shared power and leadership and describe best practices for developing partnerships between family leaders and child welfare agencies. The time for this unit is 45 minutes, and the key learning points are to provide a description of the art of negotiation and discuss how Unit 12 activity illustrated negotiation and discuss the do's and don'ts of the negotiation. The activities are, the group activity is the Marshmallow Challenge. There's obviously a handout on that, and it will truly test your what you learned in Unit 5, effective communication and conflict resolution. And
it's a fun activity.
Also, it's an excellent activity. It's going to test everything that you've learned in day one, pretty much. And it's a fun, very challenging activity, but you truly must work in partnership to succeed, I'll say, in the Marshmallow Challenge. And you will use everything, like I said, that you learned in day one to get that challenge completed. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And then you'll discuss the implications of the activity applied to negotiation. And the group activity will be to brainstorm do's and don'ts of negotiation. Okay, on to Sherry.
Thank you, Amy. Unit 13 is the last unit we're going to talk about today, and it is the implementation and sustainability. And the goal of this unit is to apply implementation and sustainability principles to family engagement and empowerment. It is 60 minutes long, and the content and key learning point is to demonstrate how to use data to inform family engagement and empowerment strategies. There are a couple of activities involved, one being the presentation and group discussion, and then a partner activity with the roles that people play. Unit 13 highlights the importance of changes that are evidence-based and data-informed so that they are sustainable. Strategies that agencies have implemented to promote both short-term and long-term sustainability are examined, as well as the challenges to implementation and sustainability. And this unit also explores roles in implementation based on job function. I think we can all agree that implementation and sustainability are very important when it comes to projects that we work on, and so this is a real important unit for us to look at. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next slide now, and to Brenda.
Yes. So this is our last. This is the closing of the curriculum. I just want to say before we kind of cover this unit is it is a 15-hour long training curriculum. So we titled it Family Empowerment Leadership Academy intentionally because it is pretty intensive. And our thinking is that people who will attend this training or participate in these training sessions would be people who are going to be the leaders in helping implement a family empowerment and leadership program and process within your agency. So I don't recall if we mentioned that in the beginning, but it is a pretty intensive 2 days. So, we hope that you'll be thoughtful about that. So at the closing of this training, it's 45 minutes long, and really the goal here is to review the factors in successful family empowerment and leadership, which are really shared leadership and meaningful partnerships are key to integrating family voice in our day-to-day work in child welfare agencies, reviewing how effective communication, conflict resolution, and negotiation strategies are really essential to effective implementation, how our voices are powerful and sharing our stories can impact change. And implementation and sustainability need to be thoughtful and purposeful. And Angela will talk about the implementation manual in a few minutes, which again is intended to be helpful for you in terms of, how do you go about implementing something like family empowerment and leadership in your agency. There's a closing activity. It's called a piece of the web. It's it's a nice way to bring everybody to a close. And the purpose of the activity is to celebrate the ending of the training and participants' efforts during the training and their commitment to family involvement in child welfare. So with this activity, participants pass around a ball of yarn and create a tangible web that signifies the training experience and the connections made over 2 days. So each participant is encouraged to take a piece of the web back to their home or their office and hang it somewhere as a reminder of the importance of shared leadership, meaningful partnerships, and the involvement of families at every level in the child welfare system. And also as a reminder of the web of individuals that are working together to improve outcomes for children and families. So that would be really the final unit of the curriculum. We'll pause one more time for additional questions. It looks like Angela is already answering many of them. And I think we will, I don't know, Chris, if you can hear me, if you're going to try and upload the PowerPoint. We still have a little bit of material, so there's still some time to upload our PowerPoint if you want to do that. Otherwise, I believe that we will be sending it out with the email. That includes a link for you guys to complete what do you call it, evaluation for this training. Okay, so it looks like a couple of other people are typing. So we're going to move on to having Angela describe the implementation manual, and we're going to navigate back to our CapLearn website so we can show you what it looks like, a little bit about what it looks like. So I'm going to turn it over to Angela if you're ready. Angela, I know you were typing away, seriously typing away.
Yeah, and I lost something here.
Oh, she's just pulling it up. I think she's just pulling it up. Your screen is blank, that's why.
Oh, okay.
So,
thank you.
So again, this is on our CapLearn webpage, same page you'll navigate to download the curriculum and handouts. And the first item there is the implementation manual. So Angela.
Right, and obviously that's where you'll find it. That was one of the things I was going to share, but you can find it there alongside all the other FELA products. So the Capacity Building Center for States developed the Family Empowerment Implementation Manual to support child welfare professionals and family leaders in applying a structured, research-based approach to planning, initiating, and sustaining family engagement and empowerment programs and strategies. The manual combines research and guidance on best practices in family empowerment with the evolving field of implementation science. The manual also reinforces and expands on concepts introduced in the Center for State Family Empowerment Leadership Academy. While we developed specifically for public child welfare agency leaders and family leaders who have completed the FELA training, the manual may be useful to other audiences who are developing and implementing family empowerment programs and or strategies. The manual begins by introducing key concepts in family engagement and implementation science, and then provides a more detailed look at the change and implementation phases and steps that guide effective implementation. The change management process aligned with a systemic research-based capacity building approach that was developed by the Child Welfare Capacity Building Collaborative. The manual serves as a guide for family and state agency leaders to implement strategies for engaging and empowering families and increasing family voice within your agency. It provides how-to information using implementation science approaches, and it can be found alongside the FELA products, as Brenda went straight to through Cap Flyer.
Sorry, I was kind of on a roll, Angela.
So now we're going to move on to Hung Po, who will talk about the evaluation of the FELA.
All righty. Well, thank you, Angela, and hopefully everybody can hear me okay, and I'm not talking to myself. So now that Angela and Sherry and Brenda have gotten you guys excited about the curriculum, about e-learning, about the implementation manual, they also get to talk about things like the Marshmallow Challenge. I'm kind of jealous, actually. I get to talk about evaluation. So as you can see, they put me last. That may say something. Either it's the most important thing or maybe they didn't want to scare you guys away. But I do want to emphasize before I start talking about the evaluation that just why we think it's so important. At the center here, we are totally committed to being a learning organization. You may see that in some of our materials. You may hear our director talk about it. Essentially, like many of you all in the child welfare agencies, you all are engaged in CQI processes. I know a lot of the states and localities are gearing up their CQI systems and trying to ensure that sort of you have a culture of learning and continuous improvement. We at the center really want to do the same thing for ourselves, and the best way for us to be a learning organization is essentially to get feedback from those who use our products and our services, and that's really the centerpiece of our CQI process, what I think of as our learning process. So I'm really here to make a plea for you to provide us with feedback and also to talk with you about the many ways you can give us feedback. So the first thing that you can do is after today's webinar, you're going to get a link for a survey to give us feedback about today's webinar. And please don't ignore that link. Just go ahead and do the survey. If you're like me, you got to do it right away or you probably won't do it later. So we would really appreciate it if you could just take 5 or 10 minutes to do that survey after today's webinar. The other ways that you can give us really specific feedback about the curriculum, about the e-learning and everything else that is part of FELA is to ensure that as you use the curriculum or as you go through the e-learning that you participate in the evaluation pieces. So I'm just going to highlight a few of those pieces for you today. What Meredith has up on the screen right now is the e-learning, which we may not have seen earlier, but this is what you will get when you go to CapLearn, our learning management system, and you sign in to or you sign on to the FELA e-learning. This is what you'll get. And this is the landing page. And you see on here that as you go through the different modules and also the introductory module, you'll have certain places where you can provide feedback. So for example, for the introduction to FELA, there's a feedback survey that's right underneath there. So as soon as you go through the introductory modules, you can click on the feedback survey and take a very brief survey to give us some feedback about that. Each of the modules you'll see below that also has a pre-training assessment, which is lit up right now, and then at the end of it there's a post-training assessment and a feedback survey. So you may be wondering what are the differences there. So the pre-training and post-training assessments are actually, I would consider them like tests. Each module has a set of learning objectives that the material addresses, and we create these tests or these assessments essentially to sort of to see where you are before you take the module and then where you are after. So this is a neat way for, one, for you to get some feedback about sort of how, where you are with the knowledge and the skills, and also a way that we can sort of get feedback about how effective our training is. So those are the pre and post-training assessments. And then the feedback surveys are sort of our evaluation piece. We ask questions about, you know, in general, were you satisfied with the material? Did it meet your needs? Was it useful? Those kinds of questions, and that's a very brief survey. So every module there has a pre and post-training assessment and then also a feedback survey. And the reason why some of these things are lit up and some of them aren't is because the way it's designed is for you to go step by step. So as you do one of them, the check boxes on the right there will sort of check, and then you can move on to the next piece. So it's just meant to kind of guide you through it and make it easier for you to just to take things step by step. So that's the evaluation piece on the e-learning once you get to there. So now I'm going to ask Meredith to go to the curriculum, and I'll show you what the evaluation piece looks like on there. So this is the landing page for FELA on on CapLearn. That's perfect. Just stay right there for a second. Thank you, Meredith. You'll see one place that you can provide us with some feedback is at the top there. You'll see a button called Take the Survey. It's just below the Family Empowerment Leadership Academy logo right there where she has the arrow. That survey right there, if you click on it, and you don't have to click on it, Meredith, takes you actually to a website or a web-based survey where you can answer questions just overall about FELA. Once you've sort of gotten onto this page and you've reviewed the materials and you've gone through maybe a few things of the e-learning, that would be really helpful if you could provide us some feedback there. The other piece of the evaluation is underneath the curriculum, under the test evaluation. And Meredith, if you click on the preview there, I can walk folks through that a bit.
The title of the document is Evaluation of the Family Leadership Empowerment Academy.
All right, so I'm known at the Center for creating very long documents, so I'm going to I'm just going to give you the short of it on this document, so then that way when you get to it, you're like, oh, I totally understand this without reading it, having to read it. Essentially what this document will tell you is it gives you a sense of the evaluations that you can use for the curriculum. What we've done is once your agency decides that you want to move forward with using the curriculum, so you're getting your approval processes, you're submitting your paperwork, you're lining up your trainers for the curriculum, what I would encourage you to do is think about the evaluation at the same time. I know in many of your agencies, in your training systems, they have an evaluation component, you know, something, a test that, or a survey that folks take right after their training. Same thing with FELA curriculum. We want you to have something where, so when you're planning on using the curriculum, you can have an evaluation piece. So we've already created these. We've created a pre and post assessment that goes along with it that also has some evaluation questions already. So it's all actually created for you, so you don't have to start from scratch once you decide you want to use the curriculum. So in this very lengthy document, what I've done is I've outlined sort of why you want to use the evaluation. Here's some sample questions, how to use the surveys. You'll see there right in the middle of that page, there are two links, one for the pre-training assessment and one for the post-training assessment underneath the paragraph, how to use the web-based surveys. Essentially, those links are ready to go. They're live. And you could actually use those if you decided today we're going to use this training with our folks. You could essentially send those links to your trainees and they could take the assessments. Now, some agencies, I know you might prefer to use hard copies of these evaluations, and that is totally fine with us if you do that. and the hard copy versions are provided in the download of the curriculum. So the upside of using the hyperlink there or the web-based version is that we would get the results at the center, and then therefore we could provide you actually with a summary of the findings. So not only do you get the instruments, but you also get the findings provided by us. I happen to think that's a pretty good deal, but I'm sort of an evaluation geek, so not everybody appreciates that. But I just want to let you know that it's all there for you to use. And the thing about this document that Meredith has pulled up is that I've seen in some other agencies in a different curriculum that you can use this document as part of your sort of when you put together your package. Hey, this is what we want to do with the training. You can say, hey, this is our justification for the evaluation. Here are the instruments we're going to use. It's kind of all there, nice and neat. So one thing we recognize, and I'll just leave you with this, is you may, once you get to the curriculum, you may think about, oh, I need to sort of adapt the curriculum a bit. So just a word of caution, if you decide to sort of make adaptations or modifications to the curriculum, of course, you may have to make adaptations, the same modifications to the evaluation piece. So just keep that in mind. I'm happy to help if you have to do that, and any way we can support you with the evaluation, we would love to. So I think I have probably gone over my time, but I get excited about these things. So I just want to let you guys know that the evaluation pieces are there for you to use, and we so much appreciate your feedback, and we take it seriously. So so now I think I'm going to hand it back to you, right, Brenda?
Thank you. Yes, and I will echo what Hung shared, is that we do take evaluation very seriously. We do value the feedback that you provide. And so we really do hope that you'll take advantage of that. I think is great that it's just part of what's part of this curriculum package.
If you have any questions, feel free to email Hung at hung.pho@icfi.com.
You can advance through to the questions and comments slide, Meredith. I see a question. Oh, Angela's answering it. So we wanted to just open it up for a few minutes for additional questions. If folks have them. And it looks like there were just the fees. There are no fees. There are no fees to use this curriculum. It's all free, paid for with tax dollars actually. So it's free to you, free to use. What else do I want to say? I don't know. So we'll just see if others have questions to type in.
Jennifer responds.
And Brenda, Nina had a question. Can anyone just train this in their agency, or do you have to be trained to train it?
So again,
I was answering it.
Okay, go ahead, Angela.
I was
answering
it. I keep hitting something wrong and it's screwing me up. But I can answer that for you, Nina. We really suggest that it's trained by an agency staff and a family partner. It truly holds true to the purpose of the FELA to be trained in that way, because it's about building partnerships and working in partnerships with family and agency staff. So my hope is that just not any agency or child welfare agency or even an outside agency would take this training, and how they're sometimes trained by agency staff alone. I think without the participation of a family partner participating in that training, I think it takes away from everything that we're trying to present with the FELA.
Thanks, Angela. Any additional questions?
Jennifer responds.
And just to add to what Angela was saying, but in terms of there is not a certification requirement to be a trainer of this. We provided this training of trainers opportunity, and all of the materials and information is in the FELA section of the Kaplan system, and we're here for questions or help as needed as well.
Brenda.
Thanks, Jennifer. Other questions? It looks like people are typing seriously. Yes, please do train together.
Agency staff and family partners can lead training together.
Any additional questions? We really hope that you will utilize the materials. We're very excited about them, and provide any feedback to us, because we will listen to it, and we will utilize your feedback to just make the materials even stronger. So we thank you in advance for your feedback. Sherry or Angela, do you have any parting thoughts before we move on to CEUs?
Angela responds.
I'd just like to thank everybody for participating and listening to us, and I really hope that the FELA can help you, and that you'll feel comfortable in reaching out if needed to ask questions, go on CapLearn and truly walk through the e-learning modules, as well as reading the manual for the curriculum. And I'm just excited. I'm really excited about this, and I truly believe that if folks grasp this, that we'll be well on our way to family empowerment and child welfare. Thanks.
This is Sherry, and I just wanted to pretty much echo what everyone has said so far, and thank everyone for participating in today's webinar, and to encourage you that if you have an opportunity to go on to the CapLearn and check out the actual product. I think it will be very helpful to family partners as well as agencies to utilize this curriculum, and we are very excited that that today has finally arrived.
Brenda.
Okay, looks like we don't have any additional questions coming in. Just a few last words. The Center for States is excited that we can offer CEUs in connection with our webinars and learning experiences. So if you're interested in receiving CEUs for social work, counseling, clinical psychology, or licensed marriage and family therapy, please do so. Please take advantage of the opportunity. Following this webinar, all participants will receive an email with a link to and instructions on applying for CEUs. And if you do decide to participate, we are interested in your feedback. So please provide feedback by responding to the email with the CEU instructions. So just one last word about feedback is on the next slide. Oh, sorry, I keep bumping my finger on it. So there is the link on the screen, which I think we can also put in the chat, which will take you to the feedback. Just takes a few minutes to complete the survey about the webinar today. Again, you'll receive the same link in an email, and any comments or results are kept confidential. And we do really use the feedback to help improve, the materials we provide and the programs that we provide. So,
the online feedback survey was a feature for the day of the webinar, and the survey is now closed.
Thank you all for participating today. If you have any additional questions, comments, you can visit the Capacity Building Center's website at capacity.childwelfare.gov/ or email us at capacityinfo@icfi.com or call 844-222-0272 and ask any questions or provide any feedback or whatever you have. So thanks again. I think we're right at 2:30 or 3:30 or 1:30 or 12:30 for some.
Brenda, really quickly, this is Jennifer. I just wanted to mention, too, please join us on September 14th. We're going to have another webinar, and we're going to launch another product related to family empowerment, which is around our Parent Partner Navigator product that we've created. So I just wanted to shout out to that, September 14th. You'll be getting some information about that, or let us know, and we'll make sure you're in the loop. So thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jennifer. All right. Thanks again, everybody. Thank you, Angela, and Sherry, and Jennifer, and everybody who helped make this webinar successful, and have a great afternoon, everyone.
Visit the Center for States website at https://capacity.childwelfare.gov/states.